Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl Tanya, Lady T, and I know I've been missing for a minute. My job has just been extremely demanding, so I've just had to do a mini hiatus from making videos. But anyway, y'all, I wanted to just come on really quick and just do a video real quickly about anger. I'm just doing dinner. I'm doing fish and grits, a real southern dish. Um, But I wanted to talk to y'all real quickly about anger. And like I said, we're all human. We all get angry, upset. And even as Christians, we're going to go through times and trials and tribulations where no matter what you're doing, what day of the week it is, you're going to get angry about some stuff. Well, anyway, long story short, yesterday I had to do something that I've never had to do in some years, and that was I had to call the cops on my neighbor because he was blasting his music. Now I stay in a very nice apartment complex, and it's mostly older people and military that live in this area. Well, my neighbor, my bedroom wall is adjacent, or his living room shares my bedroom wall on the other side. Now there's some buffering, but when you're in townhome and duplex apartment living, until you have your own house as apartment dwellers, which is what I am, you have to be considerate and respectful of your neighbors. And yes, you pay rent there, and I'm not trying to infringe on anybody's freedom. But I'm also mindful that I can't be blaring my gospel music or all this. I put it at a normal temperature. A normal volume, and I take some of the bass out so that I'm not infringing the benefits or on somebody else's, relaxation and ambiance in their own home. Well, this gentleman next door, he gets a little tipsy, and just going to put it to you like that. But he's almost 60 years old, so he an old school joker. And I'm praying about this, y'all. I'm praying about it. But I have had to ask him before, politely, because he would park out in the parking lot and blast his music. I understand, you coming home from work or wherever you're coming from, and you want to get that last little groove in, and let the song finish playing out. But when you're living in an apartment complex, again, you have to be mindful. We are all renting a certain space. I don't own this building. I don't own this apartment. I am paying a rent per month to rent this space to live. Okay? So apartment living and home living is totally different. Now, when you're in your home, and even if you have your own home, if you have rude and loud neighbors, there might be a time that you might have to ask them, please, can you pipe it down? Now, here it is late in the evening. Everybody is, been working all day. And during the evening time, people are settling down or getting their kids settled down. And it's, people are, settling down. And then, it's so rude and so disrespectful when you continuously play your loud music. Now, like I said, I'm an enjoyer and lover of music. I get it. During the day, you might have a little thumpity thump going on. But in the evening time, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, it's time to pipe that stuff down. And I was in my mode of reading last night because when I've got to talk to somebody about something serious, I seek the Lord for His guidance on what I need to say to a person. So I was in a mode of wanting to study and really get deep in the Word. And I said, okay, I've had listened to this for 2 hours, so enough is enough. So I asked him to turn it down, and he turned it up even louder. So I said, okay, I'm not going to play these little games. I'm 41 years old. This joker, like I said, is almost 60. Now, first of all, why is a person or anybody having to call the police on you at 60 years old or almost 60 years old? I can see if you were a young 20, 25, 30-year-old, joker, but you are old, rusty, dusty. How disrespectful and how unmanly are you that somebody at your age now, somebody has to call the cops on you because you don't have the decency and the respect of me as a woman and as your neighbor to turn that music down. And so, like I said, until the Lord blesses me, I'm saving, and me and my fiance, we're doing our relationship the godly way. We want to save and be able to join union as one and be under one roof one day once we get married. And we are saving so that finances is not a stress point in our marriage. So until that happens, he has his dwelling place, I have mine. So until the Lord blesses us to be able to come under one roof together as one when we're married, this is the route we're choosing to make. And I know, people may say, well, what do you expect when you live in an apartment? Well, what I expect as living in an apartment is also the respect as a tenant that my neighbor live peaceably among me. So I just want to get on here and say, that's just a pet peeve of mine, is loud, obnoxious, thumping music. And another pet peeve of mine is, don't park in my parking spot. We all have assigned park. I come home from work. I work a lot. I'm getting my coins in. I'm getting my grind in. So when I get ready to retire, they go by the last 10 years of, what your retirement is going to be or whatever. It's either last, it just depends on your company. And they base your pension on that. And so, I'm getting my grind on now and putting my work in now. So when I'm 50, God willing, and he hasn't called me home by then, I can sit back and have me a nice retirement and don't have to try to go out there and get me no part-time job. But anyway, so when I come home, this is my place of dwelling place. And we don't have no other problems with any neighbors out here but this one joker who ain't got nothing else to do. And don't get me wrong, as a Christian, yes, I pray, and sometimes I don't even go back to my back part of the house. I stay up front until it's time for me to go to bed. So if he wants to play his little music, whatever, it's not a source of discomfort for me. But after a certain time at night, oh no, I needed to show him that I'm not the one. Don't play with me, a Christian or not. You may see me go to church and my friends come over, whatever, but no, I'm still not the one. And I just didn't appreciate that. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think about that. But I'm going to tell you, anytime your peace is disturbed, hey, I had to call 911 because they are supposed to keep the peace. And like I said, and this lets you know it wasn't nothing but the enemy. Because when the sheriff came out here and came and talked to me, and then he went next door and talked to after the police left, he turned it up just a little bit more, because he initially turned it down. But then he went and turned it up a little bit more after the police left. So that lets you know that wasn't nothing but the devil. And so, of course, you know what I did? I called the landlord. So the landlord went over there and talked to him. So anyway, like I said, I refused for my peace to be disturbed. And then when I got up, I felt kind of guilty. I'm like, oh man, I seemed like we should be able to live amongst each other peaceably. And I feel bad. I shouldn't have done it. No, I should have done it to let him know, to call that joker out, whether it be the spirit of the enemy in him, that spirit of drunkenness in him. I called a spade a spade. I called that joker out and let him know, okay, you want to mess with me? I'm going to mess with you. You want to disturb my peace? Okay, I'm going to fix that for you. But like I said, just because we're Christians, we ain't supposed to sit back and just be trotted all over. But no, if I got the kingdom suffered violence, and the violence had to take it by force. So when I called the sheriff department last night, I was taking my peace back by force. And so if he wants to continue on down that road, the landlord has been made aware of it, and I'm not gonna put up with it. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm seeing it. It seems I'm negative or whatever, but I refuse to let the devil or anybody take my peace. And that's what he was trying to do last night. He may have won the small battle, but the battle is not mine, it's the Lord, and I have already been made victorious. I am already triumphant. And people may say, oh gosh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh yes, it was to me, because like I said, I pay good money to stay here. It's a nice area, and I had to put him on notice. And like I said, it just bothered me for him to be so disrespectful. You are almost 60-year-old joker, and a woman, a 41-year-old woman, got to call the cops on you because you over there thumping like you finna go to the, you know, like you at some kind of club, and you a DJ, you in there DJing in your house, and you know what I'm saying. And like I said, if you got your own place, your own house, I understand that. Yeah, we all live here. We all should be able to have some certain freedoms. But when you start infringing on somebody else's freedom or somebody else's peace, and they ask you nicely in a mature, now we mature now, people, and then you can't be respectful and turn it down. Come on now. Anyway, y'all, I'm praying for myself, but y'all pray for me that the Lord help me with that. And again, those are my 2 pet peeves. Don't park in my parking spot, and cut that music down. Anyway, and I still love y'all. I still am a child of the King. I still am sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. But guess what? I got a Father in heaven I can call on, and I'm going to use the law of these lands that we live in here in the natural to get things done. Clonk. Anyway, with that, y'all, may God bless you, and may the peace of God be with you and me. Anyway, God bless y'all. Bye.